Hey guys, Chris with Reactive Tactics again. So let's talk slings real quick. We're not going to get real in depth with them, but some of the high points I think it'd be good to go over. There's several types. There's 1 point, 2 point, 3 point slings. My personal is 2 point for most of the time. However, CQB in the house, I've got a 1 point on it, but it's a lot personal preference. Knowing your environment and what's going to benefit you, the pros and cons to all of them. So King here is running a 2 point. What's the benefits of a 2 point for you?
2 point, I like how it keeps them secure to my body. You know, with a 2 point, you actually can use it as a 1 point. So you can adjust this, sling out. It's basically the same thing as a 1 point sling. You just have a lot more options. A negative of a single point is the weapon does not stay secured to your body. It can flop around everywhere, and one of the biggest reasons for me personally is if you're doing a transition and you go to drop your rifle, for most people it's coming down the center line of your body, and for men it's just not a good thing to happen.
And that is the biggest point of 1 point slings. When you've got to go hands-on with somebody else or in your environment, that 1 point usually is more of a hindrance than a help. So, you know, a 1 point, as King demonstrated, even that 2 point sling can go into a 1 point if you need to. For example, if you needed to swim out of it and switch shoulders for whatever reason, you've got cover and you need to switch the angle of your cover, you've got that option if you go 1 point. Whereas if you're running 2 point and you try to transition shoulders, good luck.
So something else about your sling is your adjustability. So with this, you know, I can cinch it up if I'm having to go hands-on or I've got to do something else, keeps it tight to my body. But with a quick adjustment, I can then make it where it's more maneuverable. And again, when I'm ready to, holds it tight, keeps it secure. It's not flopping around, you're not muzzle sweeping your buddies or anything, it stays where it needs to stay.
Yep, whereas the 1 point, you go hands-on with somebody and you need to, well, you can see what's happening, right? You need to climb a fence, jump off that fence. I mean, it's just hitting everywhere. Whereas if he had to do that, go hands-on with me here, regardless of what he's doing, that weapon's not coming back and giving him a nice rack and making things that are bad even worse. So, but again, the big thing is that you train with whatever sling you're running, right? If you are running a 1 point and you got to go hands-on with somebody, you can move that around to where it's not racking you, but just know that it's going to tag along and it's going to be annoying as all get up when you've got to go hands-on with somebody else offering aid. You go down, guess what? That muzzle's going down in the dirt. So things to consider. That's basically the point of all this. Giving you a few different options and ideas to think about, things to consider as you guys are either picking a sling or working with the ones that you've got. With that being said, I think the most crucial accessory to your long gun would be a sling. Outside of sights, if your firearm comes with iron sights, my next purchase would be a sling, even before a red dot, right? Because the last thing you want to do is have that weapon where you don't have a means to attach it to you, and real world, you're going to have to do something that does not include that firearm. So,
you know, it comes down to also a weapon security. If you've got to do something, you don't want your gun leaned up over there because you're taking care of something here. Because if something, you know, a threat pops up, or now you've got to move to where your gun is instead of it being with you at all times where you can easily access it.
You know, a lot of times if you've got to render aid to somebody, and to be that first guy, and he's got to roll up to a vehicle to, you know, get carried off, chances are that gun's going to stay behind and you're rolling with the injured dude. Where's your gun? Oh man, I left it back there. Terrible. Yep, sling, super important. Now, with that being said also, if your firearm does not come with any sights at all, yeah, I'd probably get a red dot for it. You know, whatever sight is in your alley, in your wheelhouse to use. And then my second pick would be a sling.
So with your sling, There's a bunch of different ways to attach it, which, you know, kind of goes back to the good thing about a 2-point is you can attach it in certain places and get a lot of the benefits that are closer to a 1-point. Personally, I have mine attached here and here. This could be, you know, if you have different QD mounts, you could attach it up here. That would keep it, you know, even more secured to your body. If you had it attached here, and they also make a QD mount right here, like that, that gives you more of that 1-point where, you know, kind of like with him, he could, you know, shoulder transitions, all those things are a bit easier because you don't have this, you know, wrapping around your neck or anything like that. It just gives you more freedom. That again is a personal preference thing. This is how I like mine set up because it's just more comfortable for me. I like the way it keeps me, my weapon secure to me when I have to do it.
Just to note how he has his sling set up here. The reason for that sling attachment point coming over this is when he goes to shoulder this firearm, it's pulling it back into, and he's got nothing that he's got to compete with to get it into his shoulder, right? So demonstrate pulling that back into your shoulder and turn this way. So notice how this is pulling, that sling is pulling that stock into his shoulder. Whereas if he were to move this around and have this under, so if he's running it this way and he goes to shoulder it, now this sling is running interference in his shoulder pocket, right? And that sling's actually gonna push this stock off, okay? So when he's running it this way and that sling's pulling it, it's nice and tight into his body. When it's running this way, it's pushing off, right? Which is gonna take your sights off, and it's just something that you gotta compete with. So all day, every day, I would suggest running it the way on the outside of that stock where it's flowing into your shoulder and helping push into it. And there's probably as many flavors of t-shirt makers as there are as slings. So some of them have a quick draw method on them. So again, maneuverability, I can sit there, swim out of it, rotate over, and now I've got my 1-point type action, right? Engaging with my weak hand, need to switch back to cover over here, and I'm back, right? Now I gotta take a long shot, swim back into that sling and zip that puppy up, and now I can even do that one-handed with that front muzzle being nice and tight on target. So again, slings offer a lot of flavors, and whatever you run with, go through it, practice different scenarios, cover on the right, cover on the left.
Biggest thing is train with whatever you're gonna use. Because if you don't train with it, you know, when you get into a situation, your brain tells you that one thing's gonna happen. A lot of times reality tells you something else, and that's how something else goes. So the biggest thing is train with what you're gonna use.
Absolutely. All day, every day with everything that you run. All right, I think that's it on slings. Again, if you guys have any issues, questions, you need some more training or tactics, let us know. Reactive Tactics, Mountain Home, Arkansas. We'll be glad to help you guys with whatever your progression level is at. Nope, low battery. All right, so sling. I was about to say holster. Now this.